Now, if we look specifically at the neuromodulation device market worldwide, what we have here on this slide is last year's forecast for the growth of this market compared to this year's forecast. And by this year, I mean we just finished. It's very fortuitous for LSI in this webinar that my team finished reforecasting the size of the neuromodulation market as part of our regular market intelligence activities to support the different products we offer. Um, we finished that just this month, and we see here a significant increase in overall sales uh, of neuromodulation products and the sort of the trajectory of these products over the next 5 years. So we went from about a $6 billion market in 2024 as of last year's data to now a $7.4 billion market, which is a significant increase. And there's a few different reasons why we're seeing that. But we also noticed a substantial, nearly doubling in the growth rate of the neuromodulation market from 4.9% to 10.1% over a 5 year forecast period. So some of the factors driving that market growth include successes in some of the smaller subsegments of the neuromodulation market. So sacral nerve stimulation for incontinence, VNS for epilepsy, DBS is starting to expand beyond movement related disorders into other sort of psychiatric conditions, and that's where it's going to see a lot of growth. RTMS, of course, is extremely accessible and therefore is a great way for patients to kind of get acquainted with what neuromodulation can do and how it can benefit them. And then hypoglossal nerve stimulation for OSA or obstructive sleep apnea, another high growth market. Being really pioneered by one company that we'll take a look at here in a bit. 3/4 of market sales are attributable to implantable devices, and this is just due to the fact that they command a significantly higher selling price. You look at RTMS, it's a fast-growing market, especially on the procedure side. However, that's more of an install base versus, and it can be used on multiple patients versus singular devices that must be implanted in patients in complex procedures. They command a hefty selling price, which is kind of a double-edged sword in this when we're looking at this specific market. It does restrain growth. These are expensive devices, but it is the source of a lot of the market today. Market acceptance for new devices for indications with massive patient populations is really what's driving and cause this kind of massive spike we've seen in the trajectory of the global neuromodulation market. And we'll talk a bit about it more and kind of get into some of the patient population characteristics that get us excited about the future of neuromodulation. But one of them is, one that we'll fall to is Inspire Medical, and the groundwork that they've laid in the OSA market is impressive and speaks to the potential for neuromodulation overall.